Okay, let's do it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to your absolutely favorite podcast. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Riffin with Griffin. Whoa, 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 whoa. Yeah, yeah. Riffin with Griffin. What's up, y'all? Riffin with Griffin is back. I'm at home doing the intro, but I did the podcast on the road. My guest today is Mr. Leonard Robinson, live from a hotel room. The quality is a little shabby on the video, but we got good audio, and I'm having it up on YouTube just so I know people that like to see it like that. But we talk about his career. We go into detail about the Ghostbusters movie. But welcome back to Riffin with Griffin. So we really get into it, so I hope you enjoy. You know what I mean? That's how we do it here on Riffin with Griffin. That's how we do it here on Riffin with Griffin. So anyways, like I said, today's guest is Mr. Leonard Robinson. Live from my hotel in Arizona this past weekend. A little late with the podcast one day, a little bit late just because I had to film. I'm in this little independent movie, and so I had to film. So I had to fly back on Monday and then go right to set. It just was a whole thing. But here is the podcast, and I hope you enjoy. What do you want to eat tonight, y'all? You want some home-cooked favorites, but you don't feel like going to the store? I got it for you. It's DoorDash. Get 25% off and zero delivery fees on your first order of $15 or more when you download the DoorDash app and enter code Griffin. Ritual multivitamins are delivered to your door every month with key ingredients your body needs. Ritual is offering my listeners 10% off during your first 3 months. Visit ritual.com/Griffin to start your ritual today.
Wait.
You see what I'm saying?
Wait, am I rolling in the intro?
Yeah.
Am I rolling in to be the intro? Or do we come up lights up?
But you have it on? The mic on?
It's on. Yeah. I see no.
That's something else.
Nothing's moving.
That's a separate recording. On here it's moving. Yeah,
okay.
You're good. As long as it's on. All right. We're good.
Griffin.
I know. Let me
Griffin,
focus. Turn on 9 week. This is perfect timing. Okay,
Woo,
everybody.
woo, 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 woo. It's Riffin with Griffin. If you're home alone, you're Riffin with Griffin.
Okay, that'll be the intro for this episode.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Welcome back to Riffin with Griffin. This is the on the road edition. I was at Arizona Stand Up Live, and Leonard Robinson came with me. Today's guest, my longtime friend, long time friend, comedian, actor, Leonard Robinson.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah. But anyways, so we're here in Phoenix. No, it's being weird. We're just talking like we normally do. So we're here in Phoenix because your family's here. They're from Phoenix.
Yeah, I got my family out here. Anytime I come out to visit my family, I try to do some stand up, and because they have a bunch of clubs out here. So.
But wait, but you're originally from Connecticut, though, right?
Yes, I grew up for the most part in Connecticut.
And your parents just got older and they moved out to a hot place.
They moved out to. It was a good idea when they were mobile, but then when you get when you get extra old and slow, it's just like.
Yeah,
you're like an ant underneath the magnifying glass.
I know, and then it's the weather, and it's also a good cost of living here as opposed to like the East Coast or even Los Angeles. But Leonard is on a series regular on the great show on HBO Insecure with Issa Rae. Yeah, man. It's a good show.
I appreciate you watching. Thank
you.
Yeah.
But I was watching the show even before you were on the show, so that was just like a bonus. Yeah, Leonard and I are part of a crew. It's called the Worst Crew Ever. It's
WCE
in the house. That's me, Leonard Robinson, Craig Robinson, and Malcolm Barrett. We are really good friends with quotes.
Yeah, but I think what's more so that, like the worst crew ever is that because like Hollywood or all kinds of places, people got cliques. Like people got cliques in music. like Cash Money Records or something like that. Like we could be a powerful, a powerful crew.
I don't know what it is. Whose fault? If we had to pinpoint whose fault is it? Who? Like if we had to lay out some blame,
it's definitely Craig's fault. Hands down, it's definitely Craig's fault.
Yeah, because Craig Robinson, he's obviously the most famous of us.
Yeah, I mean, look, if it's Voltron, you know what I mean? Like
he's the black cat.
The black cat. The black cat's got to form Voltron. Can you imagine if ever, the Voltron, if it was just like the green?
Yeah, it was just the arms and one leg.
Let's form Voltron. People are like, shut the fuck. Will you shut your right leg ass up?
Right. Yeah. We need. It's Craig's fault. We're just gonna put it on him.
Craig.
But I've been on but you know what? It's not for lack of effort because like you went out for a series regular for one of Craig's shows.
Yeah.
I did a guest star on whatever the Ghost one, and that one got canceled.
But you can't put too much pressure on people in these positions. When people blow up and people rise up and fall, sometimes people, project all the perceived power and influence people have. It's just like I mean, even on a lower level, when you got past at the Comedy Store, I'm sure like people were out, hey, how do I get past?
Yeah, how do I get past?
It's just like this just happened for me. Like I don't know.
I can't stand when people skip steps like that. Anyway, that whole skip to step process. Like, hey man, who books that? Like, you know what? I'm not your agent. You know what I mean? I'm not your agent.
Right.
But then then we got like Malcolm. But you know what? At least everybody's doing their thing. I think that's what's good about
everybody. Yeah, we all have been in comedy, all have been in television and movies. I mean, you got somebody like Malcolm. From what I know about Malcolm, he's booked a pilot like every year he's ever been a professional actor.
It's ridiculous.
Like they don't always, hit.
Well, they never go.
But he's had a couple. He's had a couple of hits, but they don't.
Oh, that's true because I'm talking about but I'm thinking of sitcoms. But because he was on Timeless.
Yeah.
And then he was on Timeless, and he was on.
Ted and
yeah. He's always on something. He's always like, if you saw him, you'd be like, oh, that guy.
Yeah.
And he's been on the podcast before too.
And then,
Malcolm Barrett.
When I came to LA, I immediately got on Wild 'N Out on MTV, which was like, pretty popular for a time. And then, go through different phases. Then you move into something else. You move, but
your personality, knowing you now, I would never think you were on Wild 'N Out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I still don't believe it sometimes, but I got to see footage. I need to see.
Well, the footage is actually the show that was taped.
I know, but
you can buy it or rent it today.
But I never was a Wild 'N Out person.
What's weird is I was just doing I have weird things about me that I guess people could think are weird because I just get into stuff without a purpose, if that makes any sense. Or the purpose is for something else. So I got into improv because I thought it would make me just a better actor in general. So that's how I started taking improv classes. Like I didn't have a goal to be an improv guy and perform in improv shows and theaters. As a matter of fact, we laugh all the time about, our love and hate relationship with improv.
Yeah.
And I'm a member of the Groundlings
which
theater right
shows
now
all the time.
And I do shows there all the time. I'm there weekly doing improv.
Yeah, I always think that, but to me, improv to me is a tool to be a better actor or comic.
Yeah, so that's how I fell into it. I just wanted to be a better actor, and then I started doing stand up. Actually, Lewis Black taught me how to do stand up at a theater festival. I met him in Williamstown, Massachusetts, at a theater festival.
Oh shit!
And he was like, "I'll just do a stand up workshop," which was basically him hosting an open mic, and then he would just sit in the back after you were done, be like, "That's not funny."
Oh man,
that's never gonna be funny.
That sounds terrible.
Yeah, no. And every now and then he'd be like, "Why would you think that was funny?"
Also, he was. You know what he was trying to do? He was trying to do a culling of the stand up business. Yeah. He was trying to be like, "Oh, you think you can be funny? No, you're not." And then hopefully those people will never do it again. And the ones that stick through are the ones that's gonna make it.
I tell you, man, people take these classes and whatever, and I just think like that was the best class I ever had, which was really kind of not a class. He was just like, do it. And I got some tapes that you can watch, some specials from comedians that I love. Go to your room and watch them. And then go write stuff and come back and we'll do it again. And after like 4 weeks, then we did a showcase for the whole theater company in a theater. Now that I think about it, oh shit, we were talking about theaters today. My first experience doing stand-up was in a theater.
Oh, wow.
With like maybe 500 people or something in there.
Damn.
Maybe it was 300. I could be exaggerating.
I'm about to say, it turns out you were at a coffee shop and it was like 32 people in there.
No, but it was one of the theaters. I can't remember how many people, but I saw the way I got into it. I saw the workshop before I did it, and all these people were funny. He made all these people funny. He coached them into being funny.
Really?
All of them were funny. And I was like, this is crazy because I've talked to these people. And
none of them are funny.
Nobody has made me laugh ever.
So was it like a class?
No, like I said, it was like an open mic.
Okay.
You just did maybe like 4 or 5 of them, and then he's like, we're gonna do a show, and everybody gets to, Now, granted, you only had to do like 3 minutes, but he found a way to pull all that stuff out.
Because I took a class.
Like
I took a comedy class at UCLA Extension.
Oh, how was that?
It was crazy. It was taught by Sandy Shore.
Oh, well, that was probably good, right?
You would think. You know what I mean? But I actually recommend people taking a class at least once. If you're first starting and you want to, like, because it's a really comfortable environment, it's safe environment. Yeah. Then you could like work on these things with like-minded individuals who are probably on your same level, and then you build up some confidence over like whatever 8-10 weeks, and then you go out into the world and like try to do it. So that's what it was for me.
That's true, and I'm not hating on comedy classes.
Neither am I. But I say I don't think you should stay in them.
Oh no, but I just know that a lot of stand-ups that I met coming up just did it. Which more reinforces what you're talking about. Like, take a class sometimes, because it's like, how do you just go out and do it? Like, you read all these stories, like Sarah Silverman started at 13, like Chappelle started at 13. I'm like, how? You met my nephew today. He's 13. I'm like, no way he's gonna make it as a stand-up.
By the way, I'm so glad Leonard brought up his nephew.
Oh man, now I got to get the water.
Yeah, get the water. Oh, you know what? There's other waters in that. Okay, you bought a water. Come in. Yeah. So yesterday I saw Spider-Man, which I will review on next week's episode. And so I was gonna go see it again. And Leonard was like, well, I'm going to bring my nephew. And he goes, looks at the times and goes, why don't we go see Ghostbusters?
It was the earliest time.
He was like, let's go see Ghostbusters. And he brings his nephew. And I'm like, I wonder why we seeing Ghostbusters. And I did want to see it because we're nostalgic. Yeah. Ghostbusters is from our era.
Really, it's because we're old. We're just like, hey,
Ghostbusters.
That does sound like a good idea.
And they already ruined it with the all-female one anyway. So it's like, I wonder if they're gonna redeem themselves with this one. And I'm like, all right, let's go. Because if you don't have the main guys, it's like, what are you doing? It's just a rehash of so Paul Rudd, and we go see Ghostbusters, and it is terrible.
Well, this is where I want to disagree. I don't think it was terrible. I think it's a.
Who are you doing this for?
I think it's.
Who is this for right now?
I think it's
in case a producer want to hire you. Are you talking to somebody?
Look, I got 2 things to say. I think it's a fine film. It's fine. It's perfectly fine.
What part of it was fine?
It's fine. There's a lot of fun. Look, that podcast kid in the movie.
He was funny.
God, that was cracking me up. That kid was good, man. And just that character alone, I was like, you've never seen a character like that in a movie.
I'm going to do.
He was great.
I was going to do this by myself.
But also, I was a little high. I took a weed gummy before I walked in there.
With your 13-year-old nephew?
And I was like.
That explains a lot.
This is all right.
Now, normally what I do on my podcast is I pick a movie like that. Like one time I watched Fast and the Furious 9 on a plane. And it was so crazy that when I got home, I did my podcast. What I did was I recapped the whole movie.
Oh, okay.
And I usually, so since we just saw Ghostbusters, so this is the spoiler alert for anybody that wants to. Spoiler alert
for the movie that's been out for almost a year now.
No, it's only been out like 5 months.
Oh, well, that's how bad it must be then, because nobody knows it was out.
Nobody was in this theater.
It just came out.
No, it didn't just come out. It's been out
That's
now.
why I was like, oh, Ghostbusters.
Yeah. I was surprised it was still in the theaters.
It's been out for 5 months.
Yeah, it's been out a while, dude. It's been out a while. Man. I think
feel
it's been
even worse.
Yeah.
I feel even worse for making that big.
Yeah, so we took your so Spider-Man is out, and it was fantastic. One of the best movies I've seen in a long time. Your nephew wanted to see Spider-Man, and we took him to see Ghostbusters. What's up, y'all? You trying to look for something to eat tonight? I suggest you get DoorDash, man. You can get dinner, household essentials, everything on the grocery store list. You can get it all delivered with DoorDash. Ever pull up into a driveway after a trip to the grocery store only to realize you forgot one key item or something, an ingredient for dinner? Well, now you have options. You can use DoorDash to get groceries, to get a backup meal, get stuff from your favorite local restaurant delivered right from the DoorDash app. It's time to get back out there. But if you're not quite ready for a full-blown adventure, explore the world from the comfort of your own home with DoorDash. This past year taught us to savor every moment together, spend less time prepping food and more time eating and spending time with your loved ones with the help of DoorDash. What I love about DoorDash is you get what you want to eat. They got all the local restaurants. What I realize is there's more restaurants on there than you even realize. Like, I have a lot of little favorites in my area, and they're all right there. I use it. They come. It's great. I've used it for groceries when I need some stuff last minute, or even if I just don't feel like going any place, I use DoorDash. If you're craving late at night, sometimes Rachel and I want some donuts. I know we shouldn't do it, but we do it. We use DoorDash. The donuts come right away. With over 300,000 partners, you can support your neighborhood go-to places like we do. Popeyes, Chipotle, Cheesecake Factory, whatever it is. For a limited time, our listeners get 25% off and 0 delivery fees on their first order of $15 or more when you download the DoorDash app and enter code Griffin. That's 25% off up to $10 value and 0 delivery fees on your first order when you download the DoorDash app in the App Store and enter code Griffin. That's Griffin. Don't forget, that's code Griffin for 25% off your first order with DoorDash. Subject to change. Terms apply.
Travesty.
Oh my God.
So let's
This
just go
story
through.
is worse now that I know that it's been out for 5 months.
I don't know if it's been out for 5 months, but it's been out for months.
Oh my God, I gotta look that up.
Yeah, you got to look it up. Ghostbusters been out a while, but this come on, man, this movie was bad. All right, you know. So the movie opens up with just family.
Yeah.
A girl, a lady. She's a mom, deadbeat sort of mom.
Yeah, the mom had me worried. I was like, but is she an alcoholic who can't pay the rent or whatever?
Yeah, she ain't paying her bills.
But what? Because she's got a smile on her face. I'm supposed to like.
But this is one of those tropes they use where they make the parents dumb and the kids smart.
Mm-hmm.
So then you have this smart little girl who's a scientist and she's an introvert.
Super genius, rewiring the apartment.
Yeah, she's like, and she's got a witty banter with the mom. Mm-hmm. And then you got this sort of teenage boy who's like, obviously the rebel, but he's got like this sort of like relationship with the mom too, where everybody's got like, it's all Gilmore Girls sort of like, blah, 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 right?
Banter.
So that's what was going on. And then you find out that her father, actually the movie opens up with a sort of action scene. You never see the guy's face, and he's trying to escape a ghost. He's trapped a ghost, and then this person is trying to, obviously it's like a Ghostbuster person because he's got Ghostbusters machinery. And then it's a big car chase with a ghost chasing him, and he gets back to his like farm in this sort of ghost house. And then he's trying to do a thing and it doesn't work. He's trying to trap the ghost in his yard. And the electricity blows out. So now he's sitting in his chair and he hides the trap, and then he gets killed.
Which is weird because I'm like,
yeah.
Well, first of all, who killed him?
Yeah. Why would the ghost kill him?
Why would the ghost kill him?
If they're looking for this thing, right?
If they're looking for the thing,
right?
And I'm supposed to believe that a ghost can't find a secret trap door?
That's what I'm saying.
It's a ghost.
The ghost is flying through. So that's just some of the logic problems. For some reason, the ghost can't find this trap door in the living room.
That's all we know for sure about ghosts is they go through walls.
Okay.
So we got ghosts that don't go through walls.
For some reason, this ghost can't find this thing. And all they had to do was show like some ruins or something, like to make us see that, this is like a secret compartment that ghosts can't get into. Like, it's like if it was a box made of lead that Superman can't see through.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, give us some kind of thing. There was nothing like that.
Yeah, it's not a secret talisman in it.
Yeah, nothing.
No little spray or paint.
Yeah. There's no like salt. All right, so there's a big action sequence, and then you cut to we meet the family of 3, and then she's getting kicked out, but she finds out that her father died, and her father's been a deadbeat dad for years. He left them, out of his life, but then you come to find out that it's Spangman, whatever. Egon from the Ghostbusters, the original Ghostbusters, played by Harold Ramis, who passed away in 2014. But we're going to get to that.
But then they got to go out to see this farm, this dirt farm. They show up.
Oh, well, but she gets kicked out. You find out that she can't pay the rent.
She's not going to pay the rent.
She's not going to be able to pay the rent. So they going down a summer trip. And it turns out they're going to be there forever. It's a town that I think had one farm.
Yeah. 4 buildings. And yet
in a town.
And yet it seems like there's 10,000 people there.
Right. It does seem like it's a big...
But you never see them.
Yeah. Okay, but wait, let's get to... So they get to this farm. And when they get to the farm, we meet one of the old cast of the Ghostbusters. It was the secretary from the original Ghostbusters. She shows up. And I was in the theater, and we're in there with 8 people. And I felt to myself, this is one of those moments where we're supposed to be like, woo!
Yeah!
And we didn't. Nobody did anything. So it was kind of weird. All right. So then she's explaining the story that the father, and so the mom clearly has contempt for her dad. She's upset that her dad was never in her life. Okay. And then of course this little genius girl. Now, this is what gets me. Stuff starts to happen.
Yeah.
Stuff is moving. She playing a chess game with a ghost.
Yeah.
And she don't say nothing about it.
Right. Yeah.
She don't even react.
One thing we know about kids, they're going to freak out over a ghost. Instead, she's kind of like, oh, well, hold on a minute.
Yeah, the chessboard falls over and she puts it back together.
And who thinks that fast? Oh, that was weird. I should set up an experiment.
I should set up another game.
And I know the exact experiment that I need to do right now to communicate with a ghost that I don't believe in, that I don't know is there.
But here's the thing. The first time when she moved the chess piece and she leaves and comes back and then the other side moved, I thought, well, then she maybe think, oh, this is weird. Maybe my brother. But when she does it again and it actually moves by itself, no reaction. Literally no reaction.
Yeah. Well, you know what?
These choices, the acting choices, I didn't understand. There's no motivation in this.
There was a line in the movie where she said something about I don't experience emotions like other people.
Yeah.
I am dying inside, or mad inside, and that made me think it's are they trying to say that this character's on the spectrum or something like that? Or was that a joke?
Idea.
I don't know, but yeah, nobody got freaked out about ghosts. Not one way or the other. We were like,
wait, let's go down the timeline.
Oh, it's a ghost?
Yeah, they were like,
oh, there's not a ghost.
Okay, so she finds this. So she finds the trap door. She figures out there's some sort of she's smart. So she pulls out this Ghostbusters trap.
Yeah.
She doesn't know what it is. Okay, so all right. Anyway, cut to before that. She has to go to school now.
Yeah, everybody's got to go back.
Everybody got to go back to school. She's in this new town. All of a sudden, she's in this town. And by the way, most diverse Oklahoma town I've ever seen in my life.
Most diverse.
There's a Muslim girl in in this Oklahoma town.
Black family.
A black family who's 4 generations in this town.
And the sheriff of this town in Oklahoma
is black.
Yeah.
And his daughter was very obviously the mom's white, but they didn't even imply that. But clearly the mom was white. You know what I mean? It was I was thinking to myself, why make it in Oklahoma then? Why make it in Oklahoma if you want to be let's have diversity? I didn't understand why they had the little girl dressed in the Muslim gear.
I also didn't need to see that many people.
I was like, okay.
I could have done with a town of 4 people.
Yeah, it was so ridiculous. And then the funniest kid in the movie I don't know what the kid's name is, but his character, he was called Podcast.
Yeah.
Because he was doing a podcast. He was funny.
He was great.
He was the funniest thing in the movie. And Paul Rudd, I thought he was just kind of pedestrianly going through this thing all right, I guess I got to do this.
Hey, Paul Rudd's in a place in his career where he probably does 10 movies a year. He's I'm in, I'm out, and it's just
it felt like that.
They're just rolling out Paul Rudd stuff.
I know. He's a seismologist. It's the summer school teacher, and I did think it was funny that he comes in as a summer school teacher, and he goes, "I don't want to be here. You don't want to be here." And he plays them Cujo. That made me laugh.
That was a good running joke.
Yeah.
And then Chucky.
Then Child's Play. He's playing to these kids. So the little girl roams into the
Black
office.
people know it as Chucky.
Oh, that's true. Sorry.
If you're black listening to this podcast,
they know. Oh,
it's
Chucky.
If you right, remember the movie Child's Play?
Yeah.
With a character called Chucky in it?
So the little girl goes into the teacher's office, and then she realizes, she sees all his maps and stuff, and then they start having a sciencey talk, which was crazy. And then he also realizes that later they bring the stuff that they found, and then he goes, "Hey, that's a real Ghostbusters thing." And
Yeah, people know too much stuff already, right away. And they don't explain how they know these things.
And they also made it seem like this big, huge event happened in '84,
Yeah.
where New York was overrun by monsters.
Yeah.
And then they'd want to act like 20 years later, people didn't believe it was real.
Right.
Like the Holocaust deniers or something. You know what I mean?
It didn't happen.
Like it didn't happen.
And that was just 20 years. That's fresh.
That's real fresh.
That's fresh.
You know what I'm saying? So they're like, so then he sees the Ghostbuster thing, and it's like, obviously there's like, he goes, "Oh, is that a replica?" You know, because he's like the Ghostbuster aficionado, and he's like, and she's like, "No." And then he realized it's a real Ghostbuster trap with a ghost in it, and they make the choice.
Let's open this.
Let's open it.
Let's open this thing that we don't know how to use and may contain a ghost.
Yeah. So he knows that what it is
Yeah.
and what happened in '84, and they decide, you know what? Let's open it. And here's the thing that got me. So they open this Ghostbuster trap. A demon comes out of the trap and flies off.
Blast car windows.
Yeah.
But also, first of all, it terrified them and the thing ran away, but then they jumped up and cheered. So it was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, they were like, "Oh, wow." But my thing was like, you just let loose a demon and no one had a reaction.
No one.
It was he just was like, "Oops, we got to get out of here."
Yeah, he didn't want to get like a parking ticket or some shit.
It just was like, it didn't make any sense to me. And then that's how the rest of the movie played out. Okay. So then, you know, the ghost stuff starts to happen and nobody cares. You know, like these kids, the son is on a mountain that's like a demon mountain, you know, and they looking down this well. And then, clearly there's a demon in the well. The demon's like, "Rah!"
Yeah.
And then later they decide, I know what we should do. We should go down and check down there.
And when the demon scared the kids, they cheered again as well. Like
Yeah,
everyone's like, "Ooh, that was crazy, right? High five!" Something happened in this small town.
So then they were like, and then they were having like sort of like parallel storylines to the original Ghostbusters, where you had the Keymaster and the other thing, and they had to like mate to bring the main ghost. It was the same villain from the first one, Zool, whatever it is.
Gozer.
Yeah, they had the same villain, and then like this person's gonna come back again, and then like, okay, here's another one. So the boy all of a sudden is also a super mechanic because he fixes this 40-year-old car,
Dusty Cadillac.
he found
with no money.
no money. Just I don't even see tools.
Don't see tools either.
I just need tools and money, nothing. And he was like, "Come on." He's like, you know, he had the hood open. Then he just closes the hood.
Yeah.
He gets in the car, and then he's like, but then they tried to imply that the ghost helped.
Yes.
So because like he saw that the electric thing kind of fixed itself. He starts the car. He starts driving off. So now, the little girl and the podcast guy, they run into a real ghost, and she's got like this, you know, the Ghostbusters gun, and they're trying to the proton pack, and they're trying to capture this ghost. Then they run into the brother who just happens to be driving by. I don't know where they were. I don't know why they were at a factory.
At first they were at the abandoned factory, and then they were walking back on the road, but.
No, but at the abandoned factories where they ran into a ghost.
And then he, you know, on that joyride ends up on the road. But to your point, it's like it makes it seem like it's Springfield, where you just like, I can't tell where anybody is on the map. Where is how far away are we?
So they get into a ghost chase.
All this happening in the backyard?
Yeah, so they chasing this ghost now. And she's like using the proton pack and destroying the town, and they're zipping around on this in the car, and they capture the ghost, and then they get arrested. You know, so now she's in jail. All right, so now she's also starting to figure out that her grandfather was he was doing something right.
Hey, if I'm gonna say anything was bad about the movie, the worst part about the movie is what happens in this scene where she has to make the one phone call.
She makes one phone call, and she decides to call Dan Aykroyd's character, who was like one of the Ghostbusters, to say, "Hey," and she goes, "I'm in jail."
Yeah,
and they proceed to have
the longest.
A 3 to 5 minute exposition call about You know, what happened?
What's been happening for the last 20 years?
Yeah, they got us caught up with just little girls in jail. And he just talks like, oh, yeah, I get random calls from little girls all the time, and I tell my life story. It was a kind of choice where I go, why?
Yeah, that one felt like, I mean, that scene right there, I don't know. I mean, we're talking like we've written movies.
No, we watch a lot of movies.
We do watch a lot
and
of
the ones that we like, these are the reasons why we like them.
That's true.
And the reason, like, I don't have to like know how to play basketball to appreciate.
Yeah, when it's good. Yeah.
When it's good.
You still know when it's bad.
I still know when it's bad. This movie was 3 for 20. No rebounds, 6 fouls.
It was it just felt like something that they put in after they made the movie. They already did a cut. And this is like one of those reshoot scenes. If somebody's like, shouldn't we?
I know.
And they're just like, all right, well, let's do it with a phone call then, because we're not going to pay for a whole
and then they
set and ship you off to Oklahoma to shoot this.
So then obviously they figure out what's going on. They the kids, they Scooby-Doo this thing. You know what I mean? They Scooby this thing to death, and they figure out what's going on. The love interest of the boy, who's this black girl, she's brought into the fold, and now they got the Ghostbusters outfits on, and
they immediately jump right into like, I mean,
all of a sudden,
this movie deserved a training montage,
something,
and
like one of those black belt theater where you like when you go like this, you see him hitting the glass or something.
Some music starts playing.
I mean, it just
you see people reading and getting up to speed.
All of a sudden, and she also can fix this like nuclear powered thing that's just the proton pack is just laying around. All right, so then like of course there's a big chase, there's a big like fight. They figure out that the grandfather made this farm to be a big ghost trap, so they figure out how to fix that, and they lure the main ghost back, and it's just a whole thing, and then they show the ghost of Harold Ramis.
Yeah, and then the original Ghostbusters come out, help save the day.
And they show up, and it was so like they didn't really want to be there.
And in a little bit of a little plot hole is the when they finally capture all the ghosts, it's set up that the backyard is filled with ghost traps.
Yeah.
And it got all this power, and it lit up everything. Well, when all the ghost traps went, it should not only get Gozer and the demons, but it should also have sucked Harold Ramis into it.
Yeah, and they didn't. He's
just standing, and then it ends with the daughter hugging her dad, finally getting that resolution.
Right.
She actually hugged him. I was like, I thought you couldn't touch a ghost.
Yeah, but he was a special kind of ghost. So she gets to hug him, and then even on the screen they said for Harold, but it was a long scene of an actual dead guy.
Yeah. It made me feel uncomfortable.
It got to a point because I even had to Google in the theater. I was like, I think he's dead, and he did. He died in 2014. So I don't know how they did this.
Like found footage or stills, and then you just That's probably a lot of computing went on to do that.
It was a lot, but
repeat that.
And they had to age him too.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a lot. So I don't know, guys. I mean, I did not enjoy that movie at all.
So if you're wherever you're at, if something is a new release or there's Ghostbusters, just know
go see the new release. Ghostbusters has been out. I don't know why we got into that, but we did. But
it's so embarrassing.
I know. And then his poor nephew was like, "Why didn't we see Why didn't we see Spider-Man?"
I don't know what's wrong with me.
Then we had a whole discussion about why we didn't go see Spider-Man. And he threw me under the bus. Made it seem like it was my fault.
Well, last night when we were getting ready to leave after the club was like, we could see Ghost. We both. Woo,
I was like, all right, I'll see Ghostbusters, but I was because I already seen Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But I said because Lewis wanted to go, I said I'll go see Spider-Man again, and you didn't even. You were like,
Yeah, I just thought you were joking at that time.
Oh my God, his poor nephew, man.
I don't know.
That just was crazy. But
that was a failed moment, man. I could have saved the day.
Hell yeah, it's a failed moment. But getting back to the other stuff, tell me about this season of Insecure, because it sucks because you became a series regular and they ended the show.
Yeah, I mean, look, you get it when you can get it, but
I know. What are you talking about?
Look, I was a fan of the web series, and I thought in Issa Rae, so I
didn't know she had a web series.
Oh man, that's the whole show. Misadventures of Awkward Black Girl. is the television.
I
television
thought I
version.
didn't realize it was like based off that. Okay.
Well, yeah,
I knew she was on the web. I knew she did that stuff,
Yeah.
but I didn't realize it was like there
There
was a
are
correlation.
elements of that eventually come in, to play with Insecure. But yeah, I was a fan of that, and I just wanted to be part of the world, So just to be included, just to have my IMDb or when the Wikipedia, tells us just to have my name, definitely be in that universe. And so I lucked out in that, because I tested for the pilot. I tested for Lawrence. And
really?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I tested for Lawrence, and then when the show got picked up, I came back and read for Chad, which became Neil Brown Jr., and then I came back and read for Little Rel's role, the Chicago lawyer. I read for that. I read for Kendrick Sampson's part. Like I read for a lot of.
Then they just said, can we just put this fool on the show?
Yeah,
they just made a character.
That's basically what happened. And then when they finally moved to the black law firm and they came up with this character, they were like, I think Leonard should be this guy. And so,
you didn't even have to audition or anything. They just said
I auditioned about 7 times before that.
Yeah. What do you need to see more? It's like y'all don't know what I could do already.
In completely different roles, all of them. And,
they sure are.
But when I came on in season 3, it was no episodes guaranteed. It wasn't even a lot of description. It was like black lawyer at Molly's new firm. So at that point, I just kind of gambled that, because oftentimes when we're acting, sometimes a role will come by and your agents will get you to, they can gas you up a little bit and like you above that, you can pass on that. And if they like you that much, they'll find something better for you.
Right.
Like, but you don't know what that is until it shows up. So
yeah.
had I passed on that, it was like, this is the thing. The something better finally showed up.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you passing for? You want me to, and it just lucked out. I mean, that season 3, I didn't have an episode count, but there's only 8 episodes in season 3, and I ended up doing 5 of them.
Oh yeah, that's more than half of the episodes. No, it's a great show. I've always enjoyed that show. I've talked about it on my podcast before too. I love that show. That's one of the few shows. That's one of the few modern shows where they show black women like as sexual, as vulnerable, as not some stereotype of like what, and even if there is some stereotype, they're showing it in such a real, genuine way. You know what I mean? And I just think that's like a really great show for that.
Not even just black women, just every character, and then and then the city, and just the flaws.
Yeah, how they show LA too. They show parts of LA that you should go, and they don't even glorify the ghetto part of it. Like they show even if it's like, this is in the ghetto, but this is a great part of LA.
And they'll show it on a great day. And they'll show it when people enjoying themselves.
Yeah,
and show it how people live in that area.
Yeah, that's exactly. It's the kind of thing that you just don't see on TV as a person of color. You know what I mean? It's like, it's always like you're being added to some white show, and then it's like, and then they have to like whatever the message they're trying to send, as opposed to just a show that just happens to star a lot of black people.
Yeah,
that's the only thing about the show. You know what I mean? And anyways. It is saying about a race thing. I'm just saying, it's just it's well done for that reason. You know,
I love it. I mean, it really grew on me. And the other thing about the shows, they're very progressive about pushing the envelope each season and changing things up for themselves. They never got really comfortable in just doing one thing. There's an evolution to the how the show is shot. And edited, if you watch every season.
I always love the music.
Every season's different, all the music,
I love
soundtrack.
The music.
I mean,
I always think they should get something for sound editing every time, because just the way the cinematography with the music that they play. I don't always agree. Like there was just one episode where, she's like giving the dude head.
Oh yeah, that's one of the big famous controversial episodes.
Like she's giving the dude head, and then he like busts in her eye on her face, and she made like a big deal out of that, and I'm like, what?
It's funny.
You knew the job was dangerous when you took it.
Craig, you're not sucking. What do you think you're sucking on? That's a fire hose.
Yeah,
something gonna come out. Craig and I were just talking about that a couple weeks ago. We were both laughing about that episode, but I asked him, he's like, no, that's when I stopped watching the show. It's like just made him so mad.
Why did it? Oh, because of like their take on it.
Just
I didn't. You know what? As a man, I didn't appreciate how they were going at that dude either. Like it's somehow like that was somehow disrespectful.
But I will say this: it was probably very purposeful, because again, the show was called Insecure. So she's
yeah.
making a choice to get this dude head like that out of
Yeah.
insecurity, and then she gets busted in her eye, and it just reinforces her, the idea like, I shouldn't have been doing it. So then, but she can't own it. So she lashes out at him. And
and then all the other girls jumped on.
Right.
I just wanted one of the girls to be like, I like that. That's all. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That's the only thing I didn't like. Mm-hmm. I don't mind that perspective. I don't mind if like 2 or 3 of them, if her and the 2 main girls are like, that's ridiculous. I get that perspective.
Right.
But have one of those girls be like, oh, I love it on my face.
Yeah. It probably would have been Kelly.
Yeah, right, exactly. I'm thinking the same thing. It'll be Kelly. I don't know. I just thought it was interesting, and I know it was like on purpose to have like to be this controversial thing.
Yeah,
because it's like I know this whole hotel room is uncomfortable.
Is crazy.
I just want you to tell you something. That chair is the most uncomfortable chair. This couch is the most uncomfortable couch. The bed, my back is killing me. I got to do my stretches in the middle of the night. I got to get up and do stretches because everything is so uncomfortable.
I mean, it looks like a nice hotel, but I swear the sofa is plastic.
Yeah, it's so ridiculous. Just there's no back support, nothing. It's just like But Rachel would hate this couch because But I don't know. But so what's on the horizon, man? What's next for you?
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the other thing about me. I have so many different things that I do, and I'm always juggling a bunch of different things. Of course, always writing, trying to develop some new television to come on out for the new year. So hopefully I can pull that around, and then yeah. I mean, you saw me out this weekend, reflexing my stand-up muscles, building that back up.
It was good. We had some great shows out here too. Thank you, Arizona. Thanks for all the people in Arizona that came out.
AZ,
that was great. Yeah, man. Maybe it's time to collaborate.
And get it all done. I think that people have been real successful lately, putting out their own stuff and just putting themselves out there. And something that I realized that I have not done a good job of is putting myself out there into.
What do you think
the file
that is?
Right away.
What do you think that is?
A lot of different reasons, but I mean, the first one is I'm very protective of my work and whatever, because I'm a little bit of a perfectionist.
Yeah.
But part of being a perfectionist is like, it's a little bit like you're hiding a little bit, like it's good, but it's just not good enough just yet. So you just keep holding it out.
At what point do you just go, hey, I got to put this out there?
But a lot of people, I mean, I think a lot of what makes people successful is a lot of failure, but you only get there by putting yourself out there in the arena. And you might think it might not be bad, but then, people might be like, no, I love this. And you're like, oh, then I'm on to something. Then you can keep putting that out there.
All right, well, let me ask you this. Do you think that it has to also do with because we're guys, in our 40s, and it's like we came up in an era that TV and stuff was done a certain way. And do you think that we still hold on to the idea that oh no, we can't do this ourselves? It's gonna be, we're gonna be brought up by, as opposed to how I see a lot of young people that they're just like you say, you're being an influencer and creating things, and it's
Yeah, social media is changed the game for a lot of people. YouTube, I think, was the first big thing, but social media has changed how people perceive artists and entertainment and what's good and who's talented and quality. I mean, Denzel's never been a big social media or paparazzi or anything kind of guy. He's always just been a guy focusing on the work, just do the work. And I kind of gravitated to that kind of mentality.
Yeah. These are the people we don't know. But the thing also too was those type of stars, we didn't know their life.
Yeah.
We don't know what was really going on.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure Denzel was a part of producing and creating and doing all that stuff, but we just didn't know. We didn't see it. So we assumed it wasn't possible or there was it was the keys to the castle that we didn't know how to get. There was gatekeepers.
Yeah.
And it seemed that there were more gatekeepers before than there are now.
Yeah. There are a lot of gatekeepers, but to your, I think really the thing is if you're a craftsman, we think of ourselves as craftsmen, I get into the craft, the building of it, the studying of it, the learning and making the stuff, and just taking my time and making something really, really great. But then there's the people who figure out how to mass produce a bunch of stuff that looks pretty good.
Well, they know how to market and sell it.
That's
another part of it.
So it's if you want to buy a really nice, piece of furniture, you got to find a guy who makes furniture. And it's probably going to cost you more, and it's probably going to take time to get it. But if you want your apartment to look nice and have a lot of furniture, you can just go to IKEA.
Well, I think another
and
example
just grab
would be
a bunch
like,
of stuff and it's
but
put
I'm saying,
together.
I think the example is of the furniture maker is the thing.
Yes.
So like if the furniture maker is like, okay, I'm gonna make this great furniture, and the thing is like you go, well, how does he get his great furniture into IKEA?
Yes, you can think that, but that guy that most guys, if you're that guy that's like, I'm really into furniture, you don't want to be in IKEA. You'd like people to.
I'm just saying wherever it is.
You'd like, yeah, but you're saying
Ashley's.
You're saying, well, how does that guy sell more furniture? How does he, instead of selling only 1,000 a year, how does he get to sell a million and be? But not everybody should be that, and not everybody needs to be that.
Well, or sometimes, don't you feel sometimes that you feel like you do need to be that when you're looking at it, the landscape?
Well, I mean, maybe. I mean, it just depends on how you want your life to shape up and what you want it to be about. I mean, I'm sure you and I both know people who seem to be into this game for the fame and not really that's what they do. Like they could do anything. Sometimes it's stand up, sometimes acting, sometimes it's like it didn't matter what lane. They're just like, what would make me the most famous and make me the most rich? I was like, so then you're not really into this. You're not really into the highs or the lows. You just want to make sure you're out front shining. And it doesn't even fucking matter.
Yeah, and I think we also like focus so much on the art form too. Like
yes.
the art.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that, but it's like there is something that like when you focus, like if you had a pie, and like I think I come from an era where the large part of the pie is about being the art form of being a stand-up, let's say.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And that's just large part of that. But now what we're seeing is like that's a way smaller part of the pie, and the bigger part of the pie is being a social media influencer, and all that kind of stuff to really get yourself out there. So you can have somebody that's really great at that, but not as great at the stand-up part, and obviously it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But we just like look at it from the past, being like, well, this should matter.
And there's always been something.
Right.
The industry's always been changing and flexing, but and I think there's always been these kind of things, like when the big comedy boom of like the late '80s. I'm sure there's probably 1,000 comedians who like got that late night set and we're touring right now who don't do comedy anymore because they're like, oh, this is not my life. This is not what I should be doing. I ran out of material years ago and whatever.
Well, I find like a lot of great writer producers, some of the greats, they started in stand up, tried it, failed at it, and then moved on. Judd Apatow, Larry David, these just to name two, like they're just like, and they're like giants in the comedy business. But they just like it wasn't for them. And some of them
started off and got some fame and got some credit and notoriety and then got out of it. Again, to use Larry David and Judd Apatow, Judd Apatow was in HBO's Young Comedian Special or something like that. Larry Wilmore was a stand-up who's done stuff. The dude
that created Entourage, him too.
Oh right.
He was another guy that was like he started to do stand up, then it was like ugh,
Yeah, some of them get a little pop, and then they get into some other stuff. But I just think it's the universe finds a way to figure it out for you, and for some people, luckily it happens, really fast, and maybe it can stick. And then some other people's like, I'm on a journey. I feel like that's where I'm at. Where I'm like,
me too.
Hey, I'm on this road.
Yeah.
Okay.
Plus, I enjoy these stops, whatever it is.
I enjoy these stops, and I'm not always 100% a stand-up, and I have to accept that about myself. Like I can't be as good as somebody like in New York, grinding stand-up 5 sets a night every night of the week.
I wish.
I used to be. That's how I started off. But since I've gotten to LA and gotten to more acting and more, writing opportunities and acting opportunities, I have to accept that it's like I'm not just doing one thing. So.
I know, but and it's crazy too, though. It's like when you're like on a show, especially when you find yourself on a show. I mean, stand-up suffers. I mean, it just does.
Yeah.
And the reason is because it's like you got a 6 a.m. call time, or you got like, and you just can't be out late.
No, you got 10, 14-hour days sometimes.
We're learning lines and stuff and trying to keep your energy a certain way. So, I mean, it does, I always like, oh, damn, I can't believe that person's doing that or whatever it is, But it's like, I don't know. Well, if you had to choose, though, what would be the thing that, it's like gun to your head, writing, acting, stand-up?
Yeah, I ask myself that question all the time. I was just like, I'm going to run the clock out on that one. you probably got to pull the trigger, but like, I guess we never knew.
All right, fuck, marry, kill. Acting, stand-up, writing.
I think my first passion and instinct and desire was to be an actor. And I only got into those other things because I started off trying to act and then saw how all these other writing or like improv or like stand up could help.
Yeah, how it
help my acting. But I have so much pride and respect for all those things that I also just get into that. Like
that's funny because I did improv and acting to help my stand up. It's just weird how the different perspectives, you know.
Well, as I got into them, I was like, oh, I need to master this too.
Yeah,
and then I need to master this too. And so
then it becomes a thing where you just like you enjoy doing it. I remember taking this comedy acting class. It was this it was at UCLA. It was like comedy acting, and they had like a showcase. And then I was trying to be a stand-up at the time though. But I remember doing that and being like, oh, like this is like a whole other artistic outlet that I really enjoy as well.
Yeah.
You know, and then like, you know, it's like there's something about taking somebody else's words and bringing life to it, you know, or trying to like tap into an emotion or whatever it is like that. I mean, I enjoy that too. And like for me, like when I was doing I'm Dying Up Here, I enjoyed that even more because I was like, oh, this isn't even like they're not even asking me to be funny. You know, and that was like one of these things where I was like, oh, wow, I'm tapping into something. Like, I just happen to be funny in some of these things, but this is about this, you know, this character and this like story. And I was like, oh, man.
Yeah,
you know?
when you start learning you have different talents within you, it's like that becomes very exciting and very interesting. You're like, oh, well, how far can I go with this?
Yeah. So,
You know,
so the message there is just like, get out there, guys. You know,
stay out there, stay on it. But I think anytime people start thinking about what am I going to do that's going to make me more famous or more popular, it's like you're starting off wrong, you know, because that means you've just immediately sold out any integrity or originality that you have for yourself. You're just like, I'm willing to do whatever it takes.
Yeah.
That's why you see so many, not to shit on female comics, but there's a bunch of female comics who are probably very funny, but I don't know based on your Instagram because you're coming up in the same feed as like these Instagram models who are showing tits and ass all day trying to, get those numbers up. And I'm like, I skip right over. I'm like, oh, wait, this girl's a comedian? Oh,
it'd be like if I made model cars.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I'm really good at making model cars. And I just show myself making model cars. Tonight at the Comedy Store, I'm making model, it had nothing to do with the model cars.
It got nothing to do with the model
There's
cars.
nothing to do with it. But I'm like, come see me do stand-up. Be like, the model car guy?
Well, I don't want to see the model car girl do stand-up. No.
But you know, at the same time, though, I go, if that's in your wheelhouse, if you have that ability to be to grab people's attention because of your looks, then it is what it is.
I mean, I'm kind of doing it right now with my Instagram right now. My Instagram pretty much just showcases me as an actor. Like I'm not even really promoting or really featuring any of that
like
stuff.
Fancy outfits and stuff. So it's the same kind of thing.
So it's probably confusing to people like, wait,
he's a handsome dude.
He's a stand-up?
Yeah.
Like,
so that's what I'm saying. So it's like, I don't know. I mean, I get what you're saying though. It's like sometimes I just go, I'll see like an advertisement for a show for like one of these comics you're talking about, and I'll be like, what does this have to do with you being funny?
Yeah.
You know? And then it's like, but then there's others who like can do it and it just happen to be pretty.
Yeah.
And, you know, so I don't know. It's just like it feels like the wild, wild west right now.
Also, most men are pieces of shit anyways. We're all just like, let me see them titties one more time, please.
It's like, that's what I'm saying too, though. It's like, I wonder, my question is always like, I wonder if it works.
What?
Like, does it work? Like, have there been guys? I would love to ask some of these like comics that use their looks. I want to know, like, does a person come to the show and be like, man,
I came for the titties.
Stayed for the comedy. I stayed for the comedy. You got a fan now. Like, I wonder, like, I guess it must happen because if it happens more frequently enough, then you go like, oh, I guess that worked.
I heard a comic talking about how she had a stalker at the Comedy Store, and I just thought, that's got to be terrible to be trying to be doing comedy,
right? And
then you just got some male dude who's just like, yeah, but I'm not about that comedy.
Yeah,
it's just like
I'm a fan.
It's like, yeah, I mean, we guys are pieces of shit. People want to fuck everything. Like,
I know.
You put it.
That's what I mean. Again, that's why I always have like I understand. I remember when I first started. I remember when I was doing comedy. I'm doing Tribble runs, those Montana shows, man. And then like Tribble. There was this one female comic. Oh man, I wish I could remember her name. But Tribble calls me and says, "Hey man, can you please go with her? Like you guys do because it'll be a 2-man show. Okay, why don't you headline and have her? Because I want to, and I understood why. I understood why because it's dangerous out there. Like we literally were in Montana driving from Idaho to Montana, from Bozeman to Butte, from Butte to, Missoula, and you're like a woman, you're out there on your own, and you're just at some like hotel bar. It's not comedy clubs. Yeah. And you're just like there by yourself. Like, it's just like, damn, like it's like if I was somebody like that and if she was attractive too, it'd be like, why would you want to go through that? Like you want to pay your dues and you want to go through the process of making yourself better, but then you have to deal with men.
Yeah. I love comedy, but I don't need to do that.
Yeah. And at what point do you just go, damn, this sucks?
Look, I was just out there. I can't imagine driving all, by yourself, period. I was out there as a black man, 6 months ago. I was like, woo, all right. When is Friday coming? Because I'm feeling a little worried.
It was tough. I remember doing those, man. There were times where there was times when you started to go, the novelty of it wore off.
See, this is what we talk when we circle back. Like, man, the triple run. That's one thing I did not do, but brings me back. It makes me think. It's like not only how long you've been doing it, but the amount of stuff you did to do it, like the respecting that craft and that hustle, and that. Yeah. And now I can see, yes.
And that's why I have a certain feeling about it, where I go, man, I really tried to hone my skill and my craft, and I had to do it that way. And so sometimes I do have there's a little bit of there's a little envy. Yes. There's a little envy when I see someone who even a good friend of mine, like Brendan Schaub, I'm on shout out to the King and the Sting people. But Brendan was he's a UFC fighter that is a big personality, and he's he's got this great personality, and he got in with Rogan and these people and Brian Callen, and they were like, yo, man, why don't you try stand-up? So he was able to do it that way. So he didn't have to do this stuff that I had to do. And it's just like you go, well, good. Because maybe if I had that opportunity, we didn't have those opportunities.
Yeah.
So it's so we say that's the way you had to do it because it was the only way to do it. There was no internet. There was no social media. Yep. So it's these people that are doing it now, that's so for him, being an influencer and being that was his triple runs.
Yeah, it's I wonder, if it's almost like not everybody should have to suffer or needs to suffer to necessarily get good or to succeed. Yeah, it's but to those who have suffered, just get your soft ass out there and
get your suffer on.
Get your suffer on. Get punched in the eye once or twice so I can call you a man, please.
But maybe their suffering is that process that they were doing before that. Yeah, so it's and I think it's just you just have this sort of feeling about it, as someone that came up differently, and now you see the way it is now. You just kind of go, oh man. So it's either get with the times, or it's shut up and move on. I don't know, but a lot of people do move on. We talk about hey, whatever happened to and then these guys are just gone. Yeah, they're just gone because this business will eat you up.
That's what I say, to the whole thing. I don't care, hey, look, if you just step out on the scene and blow up and it works for you, or if you got to grind it out for a long time, I don't think it matters. The universe has a way of fixing it all for everybody for, what's right for them. And you shouldn't be worried about who's on to your left or to your right. Everybody's got their own path. And I don't know, because maybe somebody was looking at me when I came to L.A. and was like, who the hell is this dude? 6 months in L.A. all of a sudden wild and out. And
right.
But, they're not privy to I was in New York doing improv and doing theater, doing all this other stuff. And
everybody has they respect the journey a different way, or they disrespect the journey.
Yeah, 100%. And then while I was doing the show, it was I was also still taking class. I was I'm doing an improv. So I'm also still taking improv classes actively. But that's what still taking acting classes. And that's actively.
They try to take it away from you. That's what just people. It's the nature of it. Yeah. So again, you look at the female comics. We try to take it away from them by saying well, you're only getting that because you pretty or whatever, and so taking away their journey. And so I don't know.
Getting deep on Griffin today. Getting deep. Riffin on Griffin.
I don't know what you're talking about. Well, listen, we this is a good amount of time. I think we've done it.
Good luck editing this mess.
I don't. There's no edit. I just.
You just dump it?
Yeah.
Oh, then I'm sorry. I called this a mess.
Are you sorry, you piece of shit? I'll have Leonard's information on the episode. You can find him. I am Leonard Robinson on
Instagram.
On most things on Instagram, and you check him out. If you could catch up on Insecure on HBO Max. Actually today is Sunday, so is this series finale today or is it next week?
Next week. Hot episode dropped tonight, though.
Yeah, he had a good episode tonight. I'm catching up on it, because I like. Sometimes with that show, I like to let it build up because I hate when I'm like,
"Oh, what's next?
What's next?" And then you have to you know what I mean? So
give yourself a binge bump.
Yeah. So I love it. But check him out on Insecure on HBO, and doing stand up. He's around all the time. He's also at the Groundlings. If you're in the LA area, you want to go watch an improv.
Improv and sketch at the Groundlings Theater.
Improv and sketch. Yeah.
Home Club is the Comedy Store in LA with Erik.
Yeah, so we're doing that all the time, and I might bring Leonard again on some other trip that I go on, and so you might see us out there together. So make sure you look out for that. Catch me daily on Twitch, Erik Griffin Gaming, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed the Ghostbusters sort of like review. And then I'm going to do a Spider-Man review next week. That movie was so good. So I want to talk about it, so I don't want to spoil. So you have a week to watch it. If you watch Riffin with Griffin, you have a week to get out and watch it because I will be spoiling it next week.
I feel so shamed.
You should feel ashamed. You need to go see it. We almost watched it after Ghostbusters just because.
Just to cleanse the palate.
Just to cleanse the palate. Yeah, we needed the ginger. But this has been Riffin with Griffin. Thanks again to Leonard Robinson. Thanks for being here, my friend. And I will see you next week.
Peace.